Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. So we are here for the part one of the season review. We are trying to do it in a very detailed manner. So this would be a multiple part. Hopefully, I'm hoping for a two-part one, but I am just keeping it open as multiple part one because we never know how much we talk. So this is the this is the part one of the season review where we are trying to analyze the 21-22 season that Arsenal had. And joining me today, we have Arun back. Hi, Arun.
Hello.
LN. Hi, LN.
Hi, guys.
And the star of the show, Deepak.
Hello.
So for the viewers, just as a thank you, this has been great. This season we have seen that we have got some voice in the community, and people have responded to us, whatever we have spoken, whatever nonsense we have spoken, whatever good things we have spoken, most of the nonsense from me, but still that's a very good thing to have. So thank you so much for the community, and also do like, share, subscribe, and comment in. And we would, if you guys want to be part of the show, just do comment or reach out to our social media platform, and we would also like to hear from you. With that out of the way, I was supposed to start this with the question of Deepak, right? Like I'll ask you this question because you are the most realistic of us all, right? The end of the season was a bit of a letdown from where we thought we would end up with, but we finished in 5th position, which is a progress from the last couple of seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of the end of the season that I'm feeling a little bit like a letdown, or is it like looking back at the whole season now, what is your feeling on the season?
For me, like it's in the middle. Like I used to say, like we wanted top 4, like probably due to like we are out of Europe, we don't have any other games. So I thought that is like a logical thing which we have to aim for, because the next season would be tougher. But the way we started the season, it was like, I thought, okay, probably top 6 is the best way, like for us to finish. So if you take that, I would always take 5th one as like a progress. I'm okay. I'm not like sad, or I'm like not like happy. I'm like, okay, yeah, 5th it's good. It's not bad. So
but is it also because of that we didn't make any progress in any of the cups, right? Is that why we are feeling a little bit of letdown? Like if you would have went, say, a semi-finals
I don't care about the cups anymore.
Vijay, it seems like you're trying to push the disappointment onto Deepak, who's not disappointed. He's saying he's not disappointed, but you're making him like, no, you should be disappointed. That's what you're doing there.
That's the whole point of being a host.
I'm done with Carabao Cups, FA Cups. Those are useless. It's just another way of finding an excuse, like not progressing in the league. That's how I'm going to see it going forward, or I have started seeing it that way. Like people who criticize, like, oh, they are not doing well in FA Cup, they are not doing in any cups. Those are useless cups. It doesn't matter. As long as you do well in league, that's what I go. And in Europe, even in Europe, like only Champions League or Europa League like qualifies. Rest of them are just a bonus. If you perform well in FA Cup, if you win the cup, and if you finish 8th, it's not progress. It's pointless. It's a cup game. You can win the game on any day. League shows you how you have progressed the entire season.
That's a very good point that you made. I mean, that has made me a little bit more positive than what I was a moment before, right? So Arun, like to continue on that trend, right? Like not just that we finished 5th, right? We finished with 69 points, which if it was last season, Liverpool finished with 69 points and they finished 3rd. and they had like lesser goals than what we had today, and lesser wins than what we had today. So like when I look at it and go like, okay, we had 22 wins. City had 29 wins, which is just like, which is mind-boggling to think about it, because it's like they're close to 100 points. They are like 99 points, and they had like 29 wins, which is just 6 wins more than us.
7 wins.
Is my 7 wins? Oh, my math like is bad. I'm an engineer and my math is bad. That's how it goes, guys. So, but that is a very mind-boggling thing to look back. Like it took me a moment when I was going through the list. That's when I found out like, oh, we're not bad. We were thinking of 22 wins. We are on par with, like, no, 22 wins is a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially when we consider that 3 losses of ours came at the last moment, like before this this Spurs game. That's when our 3 losses came, right? So
yeah, like again, you're trying to like like I'm on Deepak's side. I'm not disappointed with what happened in the season. Like in fact, I see a lot of progresses, a lot of things that have improved. Like you said, like 69 points would have got us into the top 4 last season, but then like the Premier League with like how Liverpool and City are playing right now is just getting tougher and tougher every single year. Like, just forget about all the new players, all the nouveau rich people who are going to be investing, but just these two, the presence of these two guys who are pushing all the teams around them to perform better means that there is no set number of points that we can go into the season aiming for and like say for sure that we are going to be finishing where we want to finish. So, like you said, 22 wins is a big thing. People don't generally tend to see that. Given that, like you said, if you take those 22 games out, there are 16 remaining games. We lost 3 games right at the beginning. We lost 3 games down here. So the progress in itself is evident and is there. And more importantly for me, these 22 wins were achieved when, with the squad that we have, which was continuously trimmed down, especially like in January, we were seeing that every week someone was exiting the club. That means that like the number of people that we had to call upon, which could again be like argued as something that we did wrong during the season, just goes to show that we have some sort of a foundation. It's even if the manager does not get us what we want next season, and even if he's sacked, we do have a set of players who probably would be good enough to go on and continue performing, continue challenging with whatever we've seen and the ceiling that we project them to have. So the 22 games is a big positive. We have more wins than United for sure. I think we have more wins than City. Chelsea as well.
We have more wins than Chelsea. Yeah.
Exactly. So when good things happen, they happen, and like it was super fun. But when it was something bad happening, we just like went into a rut and we were not able to come back, and that's what caused our downfall. So I don't know. Like many people might not agree with me, but I'm really proud of what this squad and what this team has achieved. I don't know. We have all those managerial things, but this is something that I'm really proud of. With like whatever you said, 69 points, 22 wins. That's something I'm really proud of.
Ellen, like Arun actually touched upon this point, but off field is what I want to talk about, right? Like in this season, especially because we had such a turbulent season off field. Like it's going to be a great all or nothing that's going to come out because it had all the drama in it, right? Like we started with signing like 5 players, which is like harem. Like if it's talked about in like Arsene Wenger's term, he doesn't want more than 1 or 2 addition to the team, and we signed 5 players in this window and was the top spender, and then we shipped off everyone. Like I don't want to touch upon it, but we shipped off like Saliba, or not shipped off, but like we sent him out on loan.
We gave him game time and made him the League On Player of the Year. Let's put it that way.
Let's not get into the Saliba discussion. I'm just saying like we shipped players out at regular intervals. Like Ainsley Maitland-Niles at some point in the season, January, when we were not expecting him to go. Aubameyang, January, we were not expecting him to go. So there were like a lot of these moments that happened during the season. And we had like Aubameyang being frozen out during the season. Then we had a lot of things that happened off field in this season. So do you feel that at the end of the season, whatever decision or whatever things that happened during the season are justified? Like what we signed justified, we sent out these players justified. Do you feel that at the end of the season, all these off-field things are justified, or no, some of them are yet to, we are yet to pass judgment on?
See, most of the decisions which the management took, when I say management, like more, you can say it is like Arteta's decision most of the time. They were like spot on. Like say whether it is right or wrong, they stick to that. And like see, we say Saliba was like performing very well in a French league, but that is again a French league, which is not to this level. And
we are going to talk a lot about Saliba in the next episode.
I'm just taking that as an example. I'm just taking that as like we didn't miss him at all. See, Ben White and Gabriel were performing really well, so we didn't miss Saliba much. See, except for one decision which we took, I think that we were spot on all the decisions, because even though there were like some impacts because of that,
interesting.
There were not much. Not signing any striker at all in January after we sold Auba. See, I know we didn't get good players in the market or this thing, but at least somebody in loan, because you went with two strikers who were like at that time like going to go out of the club in another 6 months. Like they will not have any motivation, and like we needed somebody who can score goals. So that was one thing which I felt like was the difference between a top four and not finishing in top four. Because like if you ask me, right, like at the beginning of the season, top six was good for me, but the way we played and the way the other clubs played, right, like top four was taken for granted for us. There was many times in this season where top four was granted for us and like we missed it out. For me, this was like that decision, right, not to sign a striker like in January. Like this was more like the Leicester season for me, where like we were sure of winning and finally we bottled out. Like that kind of
but Ellen, that's where I am having the trouble, right? Like people keep saying this is like, even Deepak said the same thing, like this might not happen next season, but like last season the same points, Liverpool got third, which means this is a more competitive season than last, right? This is a more competitive season than last, with more mature managers in the four, with more like Ronaldo came into it, Varane came into it, like a lot of players that are there, like a lot of players that would have created difference last season were here this season, and still we punched above our weights. So I don't understand why this is considered a Leicester season. It's not. It's really not.
See, the difference here is like, say, any team, right, they goes into ups and downs, right? Like many of the teams were maybe because like there were coach changes, there were new players coming, trying to adapt, like a lot of reasons. But like this was a season where like many of our competitions, they were not having that kind of a good or a great season. See, it is nothing like, see, we have played well, they have not played well, finally. I agree to that. But the problem here is, why I consider this as a Leicester season is like there also, right, it was sure that we will win. And then like finally bottled out. The same thing happened here, like with all the things, like say top four, even with 3 games still left in hand, right? Like it was within our hand. Or even with 2 games left in hand, if you have won against Newcastle, top four was us. But like we bottled out at that time. So that is why it gives me that Leicester feeling, because this was one season where we had a chance to do the same Tottenham day after some seasons. And we missed it out. Along with the top four. Like all of that happened because we bottled that out. See, again, that I'm not saying it as a blame, because this is a small young team and they are learning from this. And if you ask me as a progress, like say, as I said, I was expecting a top 6 at the beginning of the season, like with all the signings unknown or everything. And to finish at top 5 itself is a big, big achievement. Let us not discredit that. But I still have that feeling that like we missed it out on top 4 because it was on a plate for us, and like we ourselves have to blame ourselves. Know that.
Okay, but the blame is not ours alone, Arun, right? Like especially in this season. I mean, we know Arsenal gets this a lot, but you know, I mean, I know you don't believe in it, but referees took a lot of game from us this season. Referees were a big reason in what happened during this season. Even like imagine like the Manchester City game, where if we had our way with referee, we could have had our say in the title race. If that game swung somewhere, we were the one who would have made the difference. That was a refereeing decision that changed a title race. That is a refereeing decision that changed top 4, right? And I mean, Martinelli getting 2 yellow cards that no one understood at that moment when it happened, to Tomiyasu getting stomped in the face and the other person not getting a yellow, to Saka getting his shin kicked out of himself, and the other person not getting an yellow. These are decisions that don't happen all the season. These are decisions that happen like once in a season, twice in a season, but not this common. So referee had a lot of say, right?
Let's forget about all that. Okay, let's forget about the referee for a moment. There were so many games in which we had everything in our hands and our control, and we failed to turn up.
No,
If
I'm
you're
not,
going
I'm
to
not
give
discrediting. I'm not discrediting any
no,
of the
but
situations.
I'm just trying to tackle your question of it was not just us.
Yes.
I don't agree to that, because there were many situations when it was just us and we failed. Like I understand what you mean. There are many situations where that one referee decision makes a difference between a team getting relegated and staying up in the league. Yes, but that's what the team wants. They want to stay up. We are not like that. Like, we are aiming for much higher, which means our performances in the games where we had to perform should have been higher. Forget about all the refereeing decisions. Like, when you say this, you're basically like, I feel in our heads, we're thinking we are the same as a team that is trying to stay up, which is not the case. They're fighting tooth and nail for every game. In those situations, yeah, each decision makes a difference for them. Each refereeing gap is a problem for them. When a team like us, which supposedly was trying to get into Europe, trying to get into top 4, but we did end up at 5th, like, which nobody imagined we would. When we are shooting for things like this, our performances should definitely reflect that. Like when you whatever the referee does, there are so many other games where the referee was very non-influential and we did not do anything. Those are the games that I want to think about.
I get that, Arun. Like, but the only thing, okay, I'll bring this up to Deepak now. Like Deepak, I understand where Arun is coming from, but my question is, right? There are things that we can control, and then there are things that we can't control.
Yeah.
So talking about the things in control, when we had everything in our control, we did not make maximum use of it.
Yeah. I'm not questioning that, right? Like, I'm not questioning that we did not perform in certain games, right? Like, okay, I'll take this, Deepak. See, I'm not questioning that we did not perform in certain games. Yes, we did not perform, but that's on us. That's on us. That could be controllable. That we can change next season, right? We could improve ourselves next season. But what we cannot control is what the referees does. We cannot change that next season. If the same thing happened next season, we cannot control that.
We cannot. That's how it works, a big deal, right? Like, I don't see it as a big deal. It happens to every other team. It's not just Arsenal. We always play the scapegoat. That's been always the accusation. Yeah, we have decisions which has not gone against us, or that is the first time we are seeing some things happening like that. But those are the games which, except for City, I don't think so we would have won against City again, even if someone has gotten a red card or something. It's just ifs and buts. Like, what if this guy didn't get a red card? We would have won? I don't think so. There were, like Arun said, there were so many games, nothing happened. Did we even go and win on that? No, right? Then how come we are coming to that argument, oh, referee did this, so that's why we didn't win? It's the same thing. It's like a paradox. I don't think so. They say it always evens up, but yeah.
Ideally, I would like to think, just like Deepak said, ideally, if you were to compare the number of games where supposedly the ref screwed up and where we screwed ourselves up, if this number is higher than that number, then we have no one else to blame but apart from us. That's as simple as it is.
Just to add one thing here, Liverpool, right? They are the darlings of FA this season. Anything they want, they get all this decision.
You're just adding fuel.
About that?
You're just adding fuel to Vijay's fire. Yes.
Yes.
Did City
At last
complain about that? No. Did City complain about that? Even with all those things, right? City defeated them in the league. See, they Liverpool was getting everything they wanted. Still, they lost to City. City didn't say that. They upped their game so that even with all these things, they were ready to win the league. That is how we should think. We should not say referee as a thing. See, if referee stops you from scoring a goal, try to score 3-4 goals. Then even if he stops, you'll still win by 2-0.
With Eddie and Ketia and Lacazette, LN
Well,
thinks
that,
he
again,
has to score 3, 4
again,
goals.
that
That
is
is our
again
problem.
us. Exactly. That is on us. That is not on the referee.
Damn, there is no one in this podcast who helps me. That's I'm a lone man fighting the battle, and it's not good. It's not
See,
good.
like there was like this blatant like handball which Rodri against Everton. I don't see any Liverpool players complaining right now. Like in part, it is like you said, title decider. It was a penalty. No one gave. Like you are saying, like we would have swung the title game, and not like that. It's that penalty which would have swung the title.
The deluded Arsenal fan in me always want to be relevant in any scenario, even if it's a title decider. I want an Arsenal fan as like us
To be the
relevant.
kingmakers.
Yes. So don't take that away from me, Deepak. Don't take that away from me. I mean, now that I've accepted my defeat are forced to accept my defeat with the refereeing situation, the other situation that actually I wanted to bring up, Ellen, is that the impact of individual players, right? Like, if you consider our top scorers, right? Top scorers or top contributors. It's literally like Saka, who had like 11 goals and 7 assists, and then we had like ESR with 10 goals and 2 assists, and Odegaard with 7 goals and 4 assists, and Martinelli 6 goals, 6 assists. Those are our only like scorers. After that, it's Gabriel who's with 5 goals, which is like crazy, right? We didn't have compare that with Spurs. Harry Kane and Son.
Do you really want to go there? Honestly,
No.
But they are the ones who edged us, right? Like they got like 69 goals, out of which like 40 goals are from Son and Kane. 40 goals out of 69, which means the rest of the team contributed to 29 goals. That's it.
Okay. Let me answer you, Vijay here. Like, say, there are 2 ways you build up a team. One is like you build it up as a complete team, and then you add superstars later, so that like they will add value. Second is like say for example Zlatan. He goes to some team. He is the sole point. He brings all the players and they win. But once he goes off from that team, right, the team goes into a big struggling phase. That is what will happen with superstars. But like once you have a good team, right, then like you add a superstar there. What happens there is like in games where like the normal team couldn't do much, like or the team like crunch games, these superstars come out and they excel and they take us to the next level. So I think we are on that track, like because we were like
Deepak is laughing because he's thinking of Manchester United. I can read it. They added a superstar.
No, that's what happens. United is a best example for buying superstars and not able to like achieve or like struggle after the superstars leave. Like that's a good example. But like that is what we have done. Like we were like lagging everywhere, so we had to first function as a team, which we have done. This season, I expect us to add some superstars so that like we can go. That doesn't mean we haven't added anybody. Like we added Thomas Partey, who was like a rock at the time when he joined us, like in Europe, not like in the zone league alone. So that kind of players also we have added. So I think like whatever you are trying to say, right, like is actually good for us. Because if you see, until that Kulusevski who joined in January, Son and like Kane were completely man-marked or this thing, and they were not having that kind of returns. Only after he came in, the returns started coming. So if you're dependent on 1 or 2 people, right, you block them, then like literally the team will struggle. Whereas for us, there are a lot of...
let me ask you this here, Alan. Do you really feel that, like, for all of you guys as well, like, you know, like you said, I agree with your point in terms of if you're just reliant on 2 people, you take those 2 people out, the game is done. But do you really think it was like Kulusevski who unlocked them, or was it the manager that made the difference?
No, it's both. Conte also like brought in a lot of changes. Like he swapped some people out, like this thing, and that is also a thing. But like what I was saying about Kulusevski is like there was another person who was trying to score goals. So the defense had to like look into another person also. See, now, even though the ball will be somebody, right? Like they know this is going to be like a pass to either a Kane or a Son, and they will only try to score. So they will be like focusing more there. Like the focus has to shift also.
I mean, the other example of that is like, I mean, I can see it. Like adding Luis Diaz to the Liverpool front three, right? Like he brings in something that, I mean, they were complete front three even before that. Like they had like Mane, Jota, they had this complete front three, but it didn't work. But Deepak helped me to laugh at like United and Chelsea for adding superstars who don't work. And now they are going to resell, like Chelsea especially, resell Lukaku is what I'm hearing. So I'm doubly happy about the whole thing.
I wasn't like laughing because I was thinking about like City after all this and they're going and signing Haaland. I was thinking about this and laughing.
They also signed
relevant information to us. They are signing Haaland. They are going for
Alvarez or somebody they signed also, right? Like with no striker, they have got 2 good strikers now.
Well, that's City. We're not talking about City here because that kind of like, you guys have just brought up my morale. Don't bring that down by talking about City and Haaland. That's not what we are here for. But to move forward, right? Let's start with this round.
We don't have any world-class players. That's apart from Partey. Or like, let's put it like this way: like world-class forwards. We don't have anyone. Auba was a world-class forward probably a year back.
I mean,
it wasn't like.
Wait till Eddie Nketiah signs back.
Even he wasn't at the level of Kane, right? Like we didn't have any. Like, but
Arun, sorry, I cut you off.
The last one we had was Robin van Persie, I believe. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Sanchez, Alexis Sanchez. You forgot.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, who can like turn a game on its own? Like who can? Yeah, he was that kind of a player. We don't have anyone.
Well, it's a loss. Talking about Alexis is not good for my health, so I'm not going to talk about that. But to move forward in this discussion, right? Like, because we are not going to do the player ratings and player level details that we would keep for another episode because that's going to take its own time. So let's talk about the, the moments in the game, the season level details, right? Let's start with Arun. Like, if I have to, I mean, it's for all of you, but I'll start with you. Like, if I have to ask you about like the goal of the season, which would be your goal of the season?
Goal of the season, there are a few contenders.
You pick one, or else don't take it out of my list. I have a list and I don't want you to take it out of my list.
Okay, I have 2 goals. Goals. The first one is the one that we scored. I think it was against Southampton. That everybody, like, that's the time when people started believing really in, like, this could possibly happen, the one-touch football that we played. We never played football like that after in the season, which was very sad because like everything happened quickly. The second,
we took the ball and then like from back it just went to Tomiyasu and then Tomiyasu squares up.
It was nominated by Premier League as well. That was my pick too.
So my second pick is the goal that Yaso scored against Chelsea. That is my second pick for sure, because like it was not a situation where we thought we were going to get a goal, and everything about it was like, for me, it was like the risk reward was fantastic to watch. The stuff that Xhaka did there, high risk, high reward. We got the ball out, and within like 3 or 4 passes, we were there. The goal, Yaso was not in the frame when Odegaard was having the ball. And the very next minute, he comes in from nowhere and he scores a goal. And that was just a touch, just like the placement. That was very, so these are the 2 goals that, though we did score a fantastic goal against City with Lacazette, I find like these 2 are the goals that like, first come into my head. Of course, other goals too, but these are the ones that.
No, don't take any more out of the plate.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So LN, I'll come to you for the goal of the season.
Okay. Don't worry, because I won't take anything from your list. The reason being, I'm not going to single out a goal this season because
all of them were horrible.
No. In the past, right, we know how bad we were like on set pieces. Yeah, like how bad we were on set pieces. And like this time, I think we were second to City on like goals scored as well as like goals conceded. So seeing Arsenal scoring goals on corners and set pieces, right, is a rare thing for me. So I like all those goals this season because that was a big improvement for us. Because any corners now we get, right, I'm looking, okay, will we score on this? Like that kind of excitement gets built up on me. So I want to credit all those set pieces goals. As goals of the
Especially
season
there
for
was
me.
one set piece goal. I think it was I don't remember against whom, but it was like we never knew Partey could head. And this was a near post run from Partey, and he heads in a goal.
Missed it.
And I'm going like, this guy can score goals, not just shoot everywhere. That was a moment I was so happy about being a set pieces. Yeah, that's great.
So for me, that's the thing. Like scoring goals on set pieces this time is like my goal of the thing, because that's very
16
rarely
goals.
happens.
16 goals. That's how many we have scored using set pieces this season. 16, 1-6. That's pretty rare. Pretty rare. So
See,
yeah.
we're getting somewhere.
and
shows,
Deepak, your goal of the season.
No, it's the Lacazette one. And, yeah.
Against City?
Arauta. No, against Southampton. Yeah.
Well, he scored only 3 or 4 goals, so it's easy to do.
4 goals.
Yeah, it
No,
was
if you
like,
exclude penalties, it will be even less than that.
yeah, it was like what it showed like what Arteta wanted to do and like but couldn't replicate. But yeah, whatever.
Actually, like
It was
go ahead, Deepak.
Let Deepak finish. Yeah, Deepak, sorry.
Yeah.
Finish it.
yeah, that's the only goal it reminds me. Yeah, like ESR's one was good. Like it's the same like philosophy, right? Like high risk and low. Like see, yeah, high risk, high reward. I also like this. What is that? The set piece goal I recently remember was the one with Cedric scored.
Yes. Someone bring up Cedric's goal. I was having that in my list. I was like, someone should bring it up. Yeah, but that was a great goal. Yeah, it was like it fell to him and it scored. Yeah, it was a great goal. Sorry, Ellen, you had something.
No, for me, it was not like the best goal or anything, but like the goal which gave me more happiness was the Eddie Nketiah goal against Leeds. Because like we were pressing for this entire season, and that one, right, like the goalkeeper made a mistake and we scored. So I finally saw a striker with a striker instinct there.
Yeah.
But not a best goal of the thing, but a one which gave me more happiness.
Yeah. Actually, I had like all those things in my list, but I also had two more. One was a goal that Arun's going to be happy about, which was scored by Pepe against Wolves, where he takes the ball, does a 360 or 180 turn, and then shoots it into the goal. That was a
Nice
like
goal.
picture perfect goal, which was like I was so happy that was a very good goal. And if there is one thing that I'll remember Pepe about after this is that let him. I mean, I remember him.
Don't make Arun feel bad about Pepe, because like Pepe has this talent and he's not utilizing it.
I've stopped feeling bad for Pepe. You know, it's been a while.
Arun has broken up with Pepe. Now he's on his withdrawal.
Yeah, I'm like that. Like salty ex who just talks bad about bad after the breakup. Yeah.
The other goal that I remember was like during the initial part of the season when Odegaard scores a free kick right into the bullseye against Burnley, I guess. So that was a great free kick that he did, and I was like, yes, the amount that we spent to get this guy, because there was this whole debate about us signing him instead of Maddison. And everything, and then he scores that, and I'm like, yes, it is good that he's not going to be someone that we are going to be worrying about, like especially like one of those Willian signings.
Also would have been good because he has more goals and assists than Odegaard this season.
but I mean there are things that we would talk about players in future. But these are our goal of the season that we had in our list. So as viewers, listeners, if you guys feel that we have missed out on any goal that you consider as goal of the season, do comment in or reach out to us in our social media platform, and we'll see. And so the second thing that I wanted to talk about, right, like, is about the moments in the season. Like, instead of saying a goal, there might be moments in the season that kind of changed the course. Like a couple of seasons ago, when last season when we took ESR into the team during December, that's a moment in the season that changed our season. So, Ellen, do you see any moment in our season like that kind of stood out to you?
For me, the second game with City, was a big moment
The
because
game
that
that we
showed
got,
us
that's
lost.
the game that we
got
got
robbed.
shown
We got
like
robbed.
5-0.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
No, the
go
last
ahead.
minute Rodri won. The last minute Rodri won. That gave us or you can say that was the game where it showed like how the team has progressed. Because if you see the very first game against City, right, we wouldn't even have the ball, and they will be even like not even moving up their games, they would have defeated us easily. And this game,
Oh,
right,
you
like
meant the
City
second game against City. Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. After the first game, the second game, right, showed how much we have progressed. Because that was the one like where it gave me confidence we can compete with any team. Till that, right, like City and Liverpool were in a different league and we were all like trying to fight. But on a given day, like even with this less squad, right, like we were able to compete with City. And that was the one like where the process, whatever we say, right, I felt it is working fine. So for me, that was the moment for me. Like, see, we can say like a lot more things, but for me, that was the one where I started having more belief on the team.
I mean, Deepak, not just it has to be a positive moment, right? Like there are other moments, like when we didn't sign when we sent out Aubameyang, or when Partey got injured. So these are moments that define the season too.
Yeah, for me, it's Partey's injury. Like against Crystal Palace, or like losing 3-0, more than losing 3-0, losing Partey was the biggest setback we had that day. I didn't expect us to even get some points like where the LN performed or something. I didn't expect us to even come close to Spurs this much after Partey got injured. So that is one moment that I think that is the defining moment for us this season. Like not getting top four is like a big thing, and that was the reason we didn't get top four. And the other one was like what LN said. We didn't sign any striker in January. That was like the biggest mistake.
So I'm going to put words into your mouth right now regarding that Partey injury. Do you think that if Partey was not injured, we would have finished not just fourth, but we could have pushed for a third spot?
I would have. Yes, definitely. Yes, for sure. We would have tripped Chelsea for sure. I don't think so. We would have lost against the next two games.
We would have won those two games mostly.
The next two games, like Crystal Palace, the entire team was off completely. Even Partey, we can say probably was injured, playing through injury or anything.
Yeah,
the entire team was completely off. So with Partey going out, we couldn't and Lokanga coming in. He has been absolute shit after giving so much promise, after the first half of the season. So yeah, that was the turning point, and I feel we could have at least equal Chelsea's point tally for sure.
Okay. Arun, difficult task because they have taken out the most important moments in the season. But do you have a moment in the season that you look back and say this is the defining moment of the season?
Not getting a striker in January. That something we should have, at least for numbers sake, we should have got someone. That combined with the fact that Lacazette was continuously played in spite of not scoring in games. There are so many what if situations. And for me, this was the biggest what if. What if we had put in Eddie earlier? Whatever he does, he might have gotten more game time, which could have resulted in him doing something better towards the end of the season. We were not judging him properly. I am a culprit as well. But whatever he could have done, it would have been a positive thing to do. Whether it could have made him sign sooner. We still don't know whether he's going to sign or not. But that would have given a lot of positivity to the player as well as to the fans. But like I said, not scoring. So that entire striker situation is what for me took us out of the equation completely, especially for a team that was struggling to score goals.
I had a couple of moments as a fan this season, because this is one of the seasons where I rediscovered myself as a fan. This is a season where I went and saw. Before that, it was I've lost that sense of that I have to follow other teams in the table because we were not doing so well. So last couple of seasons I have stopped following the table. I know who's winning and who's coming up in 1 and 2. But apart from that, I never looked up at the table. But this is the season where I was excited to look up at the table, excited to talk about the game, because there was something that's happening in the game that was making me sit at the edge of the edge of my seat, walk around, scream at the TV, or high five random people. So that's one of the reasons why we are a fan, right? So one of those situations was when we played Spurs in the starting of the season, when we went and we just like blew them away. Like after the whole talk of how great their team is, how weak our team is, and then we went into the game, played a game that was so front-footed, and with Harry Kane assisting Saka, that was one of the highlights of the season for me. The other moment was when we played with 10 men against was it West Ham or West Ham, right? West Ham or Aston Villa, where we played 10 man, we won 1-0 against them, held out like 20 minutes of game, where we put in we brought in Rob Holding and we shut shop. Yeah, we shut shop, and that was a moment at the end of it. I think that was the game where they started singing the whole Super Mick Arteta. So that was a game that was. So, okay, we have talked about two good things. So we have to talk about one bad thing. That's how the universe kind of has to balance, or else, So talking about the worst moment of the season, or things that didn't go well during the season. Arun, I'll start with you on this.
Oh my God.
Right, things that didn't go well, or player that didn't perform, or expectations were not met during this part of the season.
Lacazette.
Okay.
I would have thought Pepe and Lacazette, but given the number of chances that he got and the returns that we had, we as fans did not want to call him out right at the beginning. We were trying to say so many things about the leadership qualities that he brings, bringing all the other people into the game, dropping deep and vibes that he was bringing. But honestly speaking, the job of a striker is to score goals, and he wasn't doing that. And he was especially with the absence of Aubameyang, which puts more of the onus on him to be the main man and score goals. He thoroughly disappointed us. After a point, I was lost for points, trying to defend him. I couldn't anymore. It got worse for me than defending Pepe. At least Pepe, I could say he wasn't getting enough chances, or I had some points in my kitty to defend Pepe. I did not just have anything. So for me, the disappointment of the season for me is definitely Lacazette.
Okay. Deepak, your disappointments of the season, or
what was of course, everyone would name Nuno Tavares. Yeah, of course, he is shit. That's known. For me,
brutality from Deepak this whole episode. He just called Lokanga shit. He called Nuno Tavares.
For me, the disappointment is Lokanga. For the hype which they gave, Anderlecht, the company is what is that? Recommending him, all those things. Yeah, he started well, and as usual, the Arsenal fans got behind him in the bandwagon and started calling him and this and that, and the way he had chances to perform, but he, after probably January, he completely went off the boil. He played worse than a shit LN, even worse than a shit LN.
Superlatives of different order here. But
we should use a counter for the number of times Deepak says shit, calls a player shit.
Next time we are going to have a swear jar for Deepak alone, where he calls a player shit, he needs to drop in $1, and every time that player is actually shit, he gets to spend that $1. So
we'll get a lot of money to actually do something big for the Gooners podcast, bring in some fancy graphics and stuff.
He needs a loan move, definitely, for sure. I don't see an youngster who is this raw, for a 22-year-old.
Yeah. I'm not questioning it. LN, your moment, your disappointing thing or disappointing player. Lacazette. Yeah. For me, there was I understand where you guys are coming from. For me, specifically, because I love Emil Smith Rowe, I thought like his second half was kind of a disappointment for me because he started so well. He was scoring, he was assisting, he was doing so well. But after those injuries and stuff, the second half he had this particular drop. But more than that, for me, the disappointment of the season was with injuries, because last couple of seasons we have been talking about how Arsenal has improved in their medical team and they're reducing injuries. But this year we had so many at the
When did we even say that?
We did talk about it at some point, not last season, but the season before or something like that. We did talk about how the team is stronger. But this season, it was like completely off boil. Like our back four played 10 games together. The famous back four that we have been talking about played 10 games together. And
that is because your favorite KT. He cannot be fit. He is another useless and turning out to be.
50% games only he'll play.
Yeah, I'm not questioning it, right? Like I'm not saying that, I'm not defending it, but like if you take like Tomiyasu played 20 games plus one as substituted, and then KT played 22 games. That's all. Like I mean,
that is expected.
Yeah. So and if you take that and then like you consider that along with like Partey playing 23 games, that's not enough. That's not enough. Compare that with Saka playing 36 games, Odegaard playing 32 games, Gabriel playing 35 games. This White playing 32 games. So those are like, we need players who plays 30 plus games, and we don't have that, and that's because of injuries. And that was not something that I was happy about.
That is not just because of injuries. It's the way we bring them back from injuries.
Yeah,
we rush them back because we don't have the squad to like adequate personnel to replace the quality of KT or Partey. You fall back from KT to Nuno Tavares, and you fall back from Partey to Lokonga, who has been the two worst shit players. And then what do you expect? Like, I don't blame Arteta. Like, let's say Partey is not fit, like he's 80% fit. Of course, you want to turn to your best player. Even if I was the coach, I would have done that, because an 80% fit Partey is better than Lokonga, or even a 60% fit Partey is better than Nuno Tavares. Not Partey. KT is better than Nuno Tavares.
Yeah. So the last thing that we have to discuss is the player of the season, which is going to be
Bukayo Saka.
It's the easiest choice you can make.
Bukayo Saka.
Granit Xhaka.
See,
Oh,
LN comes
interesting.
up with Xhaka.
Yes.
So
Let's hear from you. Why Xhaka?
Why Xhaka?
Okay, see, Saka, if you see, right, like it's again, like as you said about ESR, it's again like the first half of the season, he was really, really good. But the second half, right, like again, I'm not blaming him, like he's very young and fatigue would have caught up with him, but like he couldn't do much in the second half. Even the teams were marking him, that is also a reason. But one person was consistent the whole season, except for a few games where he got those red cards and other things. He was consistent the whole season.
He
So
was
for that
consistent.
reason-
He got 10 yellow cards. That was what he was consistent the whole
No,
season.
honestly, I wouldn't put the yellow card part against him. He's a midfielder. You
He
want
got
your
it for the
midfielder to be
team.
combative. Yeah,
he
the
got
yellow
it for the
cards are
team.
fine for me.
And like if you take Xhaka's record, right, 10 is a lot less than what he normally gets.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is what I'm saying. He was the one who was consistent. And if you see the second half of the season, right, he was the one who was rallying the team. After Lacazette went out, right, like he was the one who was rallying the team. Even after those 3 defeats, right, like in the very later stages, he was the one who was pushing the team. So for that leadership quality, as well as with the way he came back to the fans started loving him back after what all has happened in his Arsenal career. And for his complete consistency in this season, I'm going to say Granit Xhaka.
Granit Xhaka by LN. Deepak, who do you have in mind?
Saka. Bukayo Saka. If you take him out of this team, we wouldn't have finished 5th. We would have finished 8th. Simple as that.
Yeah, 11 goals.
Take
and 7
Xhaka
assists.
out of team. Yeah, it is the same. Like for me, it's first is Saka, second is Xhaka, and I don't know, like third one probably.
And please no Laka. Yeah.
No Laka, never Laka, and Odegaard. Yeah, third. Yeah, that's it.
So Arun, if Xhaka and Saka are out, who are you going for? Odegaard, the obvious
So
choice.
without those two, yeah, it's Odegaard, I would say, or like there are other candidates too. Like if you're taking Saka and Xhaka out, there are 3 or 4 people who sort of performed at the same level. Like
White or
Odegaard.
Gabriel.
Odegaard is one, White or Gabriel is one, Ramsdale is one. Like there were so many. Look, though he tailed off.
Ramsdale.
Though he tailed off in the second, I'm coming there. Though he tailed off in the second half of the season, like there were many games where he won us the game. You know, like there were many situations that cannot be discounted. So, yeah, I mean, like he's young, playing for the first time in this team. So I like, for me, those three probably would be there. Like, you know, Odegaard stands out of them, but like others are the same level. Gabriel, White, and like Ramsdale, I'd say.
If you see, like we conceded more goals than last season. Many people forget that.
I know. I understand.
They say we improved the defense. The defense hasn't improved. Not even one bit.
No. We will talk about
like,
that in the player
20 games of that was played with Tavares.
So that's the thing that we will talk about in the player episode that we are going to do. But for me, there is one more player that I wanted to bring in, even though he played a very less minutes and the whole thing, which was Tom Yaso. Yeah, really, like. If you look at it, his clearances, his interceptions, and his defensive contribution was so good. It's really like, for a player who's coming from a league that's different, who has just walked in after a couple of games. So with all those things considered,
I would categorize him as a signing of the season, because like player of the season, he doesn't come in because of the fewer number of games he played, but the signing of the season in the sense of what he has shown that he's capable of doing in the limited time.
Like Arun said, like Tomiyasu is definitely the signing of the season. Like you can definitely see all the drop in qualities. You can add this as well to the right back position. From like Tomiyasu to Cedric, it's not that kind of a drop from Sam B and stuff, but it's still a drop of like almost 20 to 30%. There are like still so many areas which we want to improve. And people
that's a discussion for a completely different day, where we have to sit and think about all the positions, and we are going to be 10 more players.
One more thing for me was the surprise of the season was Pyramid Pirlo. The way he performed the last 7-8 games, hats off to him. He deserved that contract for sure.
after calling all the players shit, Deepak has come out and said good things about one player, and that's LN. Sorry, LN, go ahead.
Because maybe we should start asking Deepak to stop using that word, and he can say this player was Tottenham. Going forward.
We'll wait before we go up, and then we'll call them that, because I don't want to call them shit right now.
When have you ever done that? We were singing songs about getting back into the Champions League while we were on that run. So this is what Arsenal fans do.
Yes, and because of one other thing, seeing whatever Deepak is saying about this quality drop and everything, right? The transfer podcast which you will be doing, right, for Gooners, they are all going to be interesting with all these discussions.
Yes, so that's where the point is. I think there would already be an episode with the transfers. We are trying to do transfers with all teams, and Bob would be taking care of the transfers. He is the one who is doing it with other teams as well, so that we understand what are the players in the market and what are the things that we could achieve and what's the competition like. So that's what our whole idea of a transfer is, and we are going to have multiple episodes on it. And as we said, this is going to also be a multiple series of the review of the season. So thanks everyone for joining in, and hopefully we gave some good information around it and had some fun around it. So, and I mean, I got a little bit positive from where I started this episode. So hopefully that's transmitted to everyone else. Thanks Arun, thanks LN, and thanks Deepak for joining in. Hopefully meet you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.